Okay, I think we're back. I don't know. Okay, I guess we are. We're back. Um, Sorry guys, I had a power outage and it was a little blip and then the whole thing went down. So, unfortunately, it did take us off the air, and so we'll try try me back, I guess, if you guys got me here. Yes. Yes. Well, we had a jumping crew here. We were about up to about, I think, 30 odd listeners at the time, just on Facebook alone. But unfortunately, whatever was going on in our last conversation is not going to be in this one. It's basically restarted the stream. So anything that we were talking about at the time um, went goodbye. So what we're going to do is I'm just going to put the word out. It's one of those things you don't expect to have a power outage these days, really. Especially in a building where we don't typically get power outages. And now, of course, we get one. And we were having such a good start to this. This episode was jumping. We had a great group of questions. Lots of people tuning in, which was awesome. If you haven't already, given us a thumbs up and subscribe to GeForce TV. You get all this amazing content. Race Rivals Race Chat tomorrow. Clinton Jeffrey and Adam Ross. And then, of course, weekly racing at Oshweekend Speedway. Is there anything better? Also, of course, this is the group that puts together your broadcasts on Racing America for the APC late model series, and hopefully we'll see what the off season brings. I'm not sure what the plans are yet. If they've announced that they're going to be at the ACC again this year, Autumn Colors Classic last year, 3 days, brutal weather unfortunately last year though, and so hopefully this year we'll be able to get out there. I'd love to be able to go up and be a part of that. Get to talk, and I've got an invitation to be up in the booth again, which definitely want to take that. There's one kid there that Ben Hodgson, who I think is a fantastic commentator for as young as he is, and love to be able to go and see him in action and get to do maybe some commentary there, talk some racing. Definitely got to look into that because that looks like a ton of fun, and we definitely have a great time at the ACC. But yeah, we were talking before we were rudely interrupted by failing power here in Scarborough. Um, we were talking about things that potentially we can look at for the future and to help motorsports. And it is not, like we said, there's not normally an easy solution, but we'll definitely have opportunities to talk more about that in the future. Want to get to some topics like Flamborough Speedway from this past weekend. I want to give a great call to that toll track. They have a lot of great stuff that's happening out there. There are some things obviously that I think every track would like to improve on. But my experience was fantastic. Aside from the weather plaguing the end and just having too much of a time crunch, this was a phenomenal night of racing. There's a lot of good here, and it sucks to see that it's quiet. and they need a little bit more fan presence. I do think, and that just, it happens. Every track goes through that. So I think that for my first experience ever seeing the Pro Challenge, the Ontario Pro Challenge series, those cars are so much fun to watch. They wheel around that place, and it was a little bit of, it was some good carnage in that race. And not really that I would like to see that, but lots of good racing. Not so much for the lead. The lead was pretty well determined in both events, which again, that happens. I mean, I think having events where carnage happens, it does. If the field's going to be messing with each other for most of the night, you can see that. But I give a call once again to the Pure Stocks. Holy moly, what a fun division. And it's just like they're a little quieter than the fun stocks, I think, and the pure stocks out at Delaware, obviously, and a lot quieter than the ones at Delaware. Don't have as much screeching of tires, and a lot more quiet coming into the corners, which, again, at Sunset, again, they don't screech as much there either, but from where we were, they seemed very, very quiet, which is, it was weird kind of seeing that. But 23, I believe we had about 21 to 23 pure stocks, and nose to tail, within a big pack. They started to lap some, but for the most part, the battling, the driving through the field, what's really working there is the inversion that they do. And this was awesome to see. You got to see Chase Mitchell get his very first victory in the pure stock division for the Mitchell team, and that's huge. That's absolutely huge for them. I definitely like that they've moved the start-finish line to be their victory lane instead of in the middle of the track. It does get a little... It is a little difficult with the fencing, but I'm not a fan of fencing. Obviously, as somebody that likes to take a lot of video and a lot of pictures, I understand obviously the safety of it and everything. But I for whatever reason, I guess it just seems a little more blocked out. I guess to be able to see, maybe it's the type of fencing. I honestly don't know. But Flamboro's got an amazing spot, and I really don't want anything to happen to it. It's kind of off in its own little place, and it where we were was the announce. I don't know if it's the announce. It's not the announce tower, but it's the VIP tower, and it's in turn one. It's on a bit of a hill and a bit of an incline, and you get up high, and that was one of the coolest places I've ever filmed races before. I feel like Sunset, I haven't found the place yet. Turn 2 is nice, but it's not what I need. I'm pretty sure I'd need to find probably the announce tower, I think. And yeah, Ashley, it was a hike. Because there's not a way to get through the fan side. You got to go all the way around, right? So for us, luckily as media, we I asked John if we could tape up there, and he said absolutely. And honestly, I don't know if I could watch a race at Flamborough in any other spot, because it was so we went inside. I decided to we were waiting for the red flag to finish, and I just happened to look in, and I opened the door was open to the VIP, and I looked in, and there's nostalgia just all over the walls. There's photos from years of racing. All the tables have Dave Frank's photos embedded on the actual table. And I'm like, this is the furniture is dated. We'll say that it's pretty old in there, but for I honestly, like I said, I don't know how you wouldn't love watching a race from there. Now, mind you, we were there on, I guess it would be probably a quiet night. It's not Frostfest and it's not APC, so there's probably not a ton of people that were going to be there. We didn't have any. There was no one there. There was a couple of older gentlemen that were there, and that was it. Because we were up on the balcony, and I don't know if that's where Pedal Power records or if they record from the stands, but man, what a great view! You get to see the entire track. The lighting is phenomenal at Flamborough, and I don't know if it's just certain tracks. I guess maybe Sunset's tracks that the lighting is different, but wow, it was great. And tonight it's nice to have a phone that can adapt to certain light conditions and adjust its recording, because the video that we got was pretty solid for it being, pitch black. I will say I've been demolished by mosquitoes again. So there is some downsides to these tracks with the amount of bugs, specifically the mosquitoes there. I've never been, I don't think I've ever had a mosquito bite on my scalp before. And they got me like right in the back here. But so Chase Mitchell got the Pure Stock victory, his very first career Pure Stock victory. And Cam Thompson got his 5th of the season in the BT racing car. Our buddy Mac Ingram. Yeah, Flamborough is swamp country. Spencer, you have to remember, though, you go to friggin' Peterborough, and you can't go near turn 4 in Peterborough. No chance. And that's the other downside to having later events, is the mosquitoes come out, and most people, like, I think it was the OSS races, the people were leaving because the bugs were so bad. So, you can't really win in that circumstance when you're going up against, and I don't know, there's not really a solution there unless you just get a bunch of bats. Yeah, they're better for colors, right, Spencer? Like they're much tamer. But Thermacell Game Changer? Oh, okay. Well, if the tracks need to invest in it, they need to, because if JP wants to keep those fans there and not have them all, eaten alive, because let's be honest, mosquitoes now don't care if you're wearing long clothing. They'll bite through. They'll get you right through it. And if you're a big guy like me, you got a lot of delicacy for them to feed on. So we don't want that to deter people, but that is the best part about it getting towards the end of the summer, is that those mosquitoes will go away and we get back to enjoying. And I mean, for myself, I actually really do like the cool for racing. I think it's fun to have a nice cooler racetrack rather than I'd rather be too cold than too hot, frankly, just because when I get overheated, I can't breathe. So, but there's plans now potentially for us to head over for Frostfest. The invitation's there from Kevin Small. I didn't actually get to meet Kevin because the one time we were going to be there, and he's not there. Unfortunately, he was having a vacation, but it was still, like I said, it was great to meet John Caselli and to get in with Graydon and the boys and get to experience just racing after what's been it's been a very difficult month. And unfortunately it's continuing to be very difficult with having a great show going, and then we lost power in the middle of it for about 20 minutes. So, but I'm glad that people came back and tuned in for the last little bit, and head on over to Stickers and Scuffs. We've got interviews with Chase Mitchell and Cam Thompson, winners from the Pure Stock race out at Flamborough Speedway. Didn't even get an opportunity to find Spencer Riddell when we were there. Things were just so compact, but guys like that, Spencer Riddell and Wade Thorne, the Mitchells, BT Racing. There's um, a lot of great things. I would definitely put Haley Hill having one hell of a race as one of the highlights. That was really cool to see. Unfortunately, a massive crash though that she had. I didn't see the beginning. I believe another car got into her, and unfortunately when she hooked, she went to the right in front of the field, and it was just I was so worried that she was just going to get absolutely demolished, and the 83 come around and rear end just slammed into the front of her car, and then the Mitchell sisters, they also kind of spun to avoid. Megan's car got the worst of that, but car is almost fixed already, as Cam Thompson says. So that's good to hear, and I'm glad that Haley was okay, because that was a pretty bad hit, as well as Mike Westwood in the Can-Am Midgets. He took a pretty hard hit into the wall as well. Contact with Jorgensen, and just the angle that he hit, he went direct into the wall and had no chance to turn. Like, that steering broke, and he went head on, and just, you don't like hits like that. No hit is good, but and then chaos in the pits again, and I gotta say, like, this is getting old. Like, can we just disagree and not do stupid stuff in the pits afterwards? Because in this case, it took away from what was happening on track, because you could hear the commotion, and all the fans are watching what's going on in the pits and not what's going on the racetrack. So the one thing I would definitely say is they need to get that kind of sorted out. There's a couple divisions that I thought had a pretty poor showing in terms of that. Even when you're upset and taking it out on drivers and stuff, it's better that, and a lot of the times it seems like what I'm hearing a lot is it's not even the drivers themselves that are doing it. It's people in their pit or family members, and it just, I totally understand it, but let the racers deal with it. They were the ones on the track. Let them be the ones to deal with it. But it was great to see. We got to see some of our SNS Racing family out there, people we haven't been able to catch. Mike Thompson, Caitlin Wallace, the Mitchells, Cam Thompson, haven't been able to see Cam all season. And Corey Whittam in the Can-Am Midgets. So we don't have a huge crew out at Flamborough that represent the podcast, but I definitely think people should come on now for Frostfest. They're trying to build a Superstock car. They're trying to build something that Justin Collison has been working really hard to get this, and we definitely need we definitely need to have that. I think we want to have an event like Frostfest basically has been in the past, and let's who doesn't want an igloo? Like, that's one of the coolest trophies I've ever seen. Spencer says, I was fired up Saturday. That's why I loaded up and left. I didn't want to do something I'd regret. Interesting. I didn't see anything that happened with the 17 on the track. So could have just been performance or things that happened beforehand, or maybe there was something, I just didn't see it. But do yourselves a favor. Head on out to a racetrack this upcoming weekend. Lots of double headers out there. And especially if you've got to go to a racetrack that you haven't been before, why not try Sauble Speedway? Why not try Peterborough? They're wrapping things up this weekend. Have yourselves a great week. Sorry about the delay, everybody. Power outages, can't really do nothing about that, but really appreciate everybody that's tuned in tonight for our 2 streams, and we'll catch you next week for episode 103 of ONTrack Weekly.